What's up, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Media. I hope you guys are having a superb Saturday. This is a first time.
No, I mean we've done interviews on Saturdays before, but we got a three interviews lined up.
You know what?
We got a
Saturated.
big three.
It's a saturated Saturday because
It is a saturated, but we're excited. Great guys.
We're excited, yes. So tonight we're going to be opening up with Tristen
Hoge. Yeah, Tristen.
The BYU Cougars.
Mm-hmm.
Started out at Notre Dame. He's a beast. 6'5", 311 pounds.
Yeah.
Deidre? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me say this part. He was recruited by just about everybody.
Yeah.
Almost every Pac-12 school, bunch from the Big Ten, couple SEC teams, and he landed at Notre Dame. Then he transferred to BYU. Now run it down, Deidre.
Four-star recruit, obviously, was Zach Wilson, who's a big-time NFL prospect, one of his offensive linemen. He struggled with COVID this year, but he still managed to have a great year. He will be in the NFL Players Association Collegiate Bowl coming up. We're excited to have him. I'm admitting him in right now to our Zoom call. It's going to be exciting. All good things. Yes. Hey, Tristen, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Tristen, welcome to the show. So we can just start at the beginning here. Out of high school, you were heavily recruited. What made you decide to go to Notre Dame and then ultimately land at BYU?
So through recruiting, I was kind of looking for a lot of different things. And Notre Dame kind of sufficed them. One of them was education. Notre Dame's, highly reputed, as a university, they're one of the best in the nation. So I figured, I might as well go there and get a challenge out of my education and get a degree that's, absolutely worth it. Also, there's the football there is, that's a culture that's, undisputed for, a lot of years. That's a rich history. So, of course, those things went hand in hand, and, I ended up choosing it. Of course, I transferred, which is never the intention when you commit to a university and go there is a transfer out. But, sometimes you just make a choice and it doesn't wind up a fit. So I ended up going to BYU. I had my cousin was playing there, and I had a few friends and, just some ties to BYU, which kind of drew me back out west. I was closer to home, but I some people are like, oh, you went a little closer to home, but that wasn't really the idea. I went to Notre Dame to kind of get away from all the West, but I mean, I will say it was nice coming back to the mountains. So that was definitely very welcoming. And I just felt like BYU, the locker room was really nice. And in a player standpoint, I felt really welcome. A lot of the players were really awesome, and the coaching staff as well. And I just felt, overall very welcome. So, and I wasn't even there yet. I was there visiting my cousin one weekend. And so I ended up getting drawn there, and here I am.
Zach Wilson is very happy that you made that transfer.
I hope so. I
think you helped him a lot. So at the beginning of the season, unfortunately, you caught COVID and then got pneumonia. How are you doing? And you also made a very powerful statement that I think resonated with people, because when an athlete kind of catches it, it becomes real to people. It's a weird thing, but you made a very powerful statement about how people should be taking COVID seriously. How are you doing, and how was your recovery process?
I'm doing well. When going through COVID was rough. I'm one of the horror stories, the worst case scenarios of, you get it, you get all the stuff, you get pneumonia, and it just really knocks you down. But, like I say, I'm no doctor by any means, but yeah, I'm a testament that it affects everyone a little differently. But that means, it's kind of one of those things. You don't really want to roll the dice on a negative disease by any means. It's not like the $1 billion lottery. I'll roll my $10 on that.
Right.
But I'm not going to roll with the COVID. But, once it subsided, I was lucky to have some, good doctors that were able to give me some, good medication to get me back on my feet and get me going again. But I haven't felt really any lasting effects. I feel like if anything, the taste and the smell were the longest ones to recuperate, which sucked because I love my food.
You're an offensive lineman. I mean, it goes hand in hand, right?
Part of my life.
Exactly.
So I was a little disappointed.
It's kind of your job at this point.
Yes. Yeah, I would say it's definitely part of the job description.
So from a player standpoint, what has it been like for you as a player trying to get through this season with all the protocols and the pandemic going on?
It was definitely it was a new experience. I mean, it's one of those things 20 years from now, I can tell my kids like, hey, look, this is a weird year. But it's one of those experiences that you kind of look back and you're like, well, yeah, it kind of sucked because you have to go through all this testing, every other day through the week, and just that fear, you don't know. Even though we wound up having a schedule, every week was like, okay, will this game happen? And it's going, it's preparing every week saying, okay, this game's gonna happen, but in the back of your mind, like, there's a chance it couldn't. So it was interesting. And I mean, the first game at Navy, you walk out there and there's not a soul out there, it's crickets. The only thing playing is the music. And so it was different. But like I said, it was one of those experiences that I'm not going to forget it anytime soon. It was one of the most unique years in history, really. So it was definitely different, but I enjoyed a lot of it. It was a memorable senior year, and a lot of good things came out of it.
Oh, you bring up how your schedule changed. One part of your schedule that changed, you ended up being in College game day in Coastal Carolina. What a hard fought game that was. What was that like?
Being that Coastal Carolina game, and that's of course one thing I get, talked about here a lot. Is a lot of these different players. They're like, okay, the Coastal Carolina game, give us the dish on that. But I mean, it's one of those things. That's the COVID year. COVID strike like that. We ended up having to play a game in 3 days. I mean, that's just how the ball roll. That's 2020. That was 2020 in a nutshell. So it was definitely one of the most unique preparations that I've ever had. For a game, because we had 3 days when you usually have, 6 for it.
Right.
And while I did, you go in, because sometimes you could say, oh, you guys are just underprepared. I'm like, I think at the end of the day, we just came in and we fought the game and we ended up losing. It's football. At the end of the day, one team always loses, and we just happen to do that. But it's one of those experiences you don't forget. I mean, that's it's just one of those. It's one of those special things where you're like, I'll remember that game, not just because it was a loss, but just because of the unique circumstances it was under.
It was also probably, and I think if you would have told people at the beginning of the year, BYU and Coastal Carolina might have had the best game in the college season, people would have told you were crazy, but you guys definitely did have one of the best games. And then to say that was on such a big stage, that must have been so exciting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's you people say you're absolutely nuts. Yeah. BYU Coastal Carolina. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right.
So you guys had an incredible season offensively this season. What clicked for you guys to basically be able to manhandle every team you faced? I mean, you guys put up the half-century mark a bunch of times, got close to it the other times. What really just clicked this season for you guys?
I think there's a lot of factors that came into it. I think a lot of our players, we had a pretty mature player base this time coming. I think a lot of guys matured, me included. I think we kind of all took COVID that time alone, and we were like, okay, we have this time. It's all the focus on ourselves. What can we do to kind of stay ruled in? So now guys were saying, okay, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to work on my craft, whether it be technique and all that. And then a lot of people will jump into playbook. I mean, that's all I did for those, 2-3 months we were in quarantine was playbook and work out. And that's all we could do. So I think, and a lot of guys on the team did the exact same thing. They decided to, hey, I'm going to buckle up and learn my job. I'm going to get these things down past. So when we, eventually, hopefully at that time, but when we eventually have a season, that we'll be able to be locked in, know what we're doing. And I think it really paid off dividends. I think guys came back prepared more than any year that I'd been there. I'd seen guys, who had not just known their job inside and out, but known, hey, look, if I can play my job, I can go play his job. I know what he's doing. So we all held each other accountable to that point. So I think we were both, mentally we were a prepared team, and physically we were a prepared team.
You made the decision to forego your last eligible season and join the 2021, declare for the 2021 draft. What went into that decision?
There was a lot, because that would have been 7 years for me in college, and as much as I would have loved to work on my PhD, I thought a master's was quite good enough for my academics. But it was also, that is 7 years. That's another year. There's a lot of stuff that can happen in a year, and I didn't want to kind of roll the dice on something risky like that. I'm not getting any younger, and the NFL does look at things, like age, and that can sometimes play against. So I don't want to go in, 24 going on 25. I'll go 23 going on 24. Why not? So yeah, I just kind of talked it over with my family and all that stuff, and said, I think this would be the best decision for me. Just to move on, and I was ready to. You know, at this point,
Yeah.
I was ready to get out of college, move on, go on to the next step, and you know, and play my hand at the NFL game. So you know what, if it works out, fantastic. That's the goal. That's always been the goal. And if it doesn't,
Right.
you know what, that life goes on, and I have a plan for everything else.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Oh yes.
So you have entered for the you've entered for the 2021 draft. So put yourself in a hypothetical here. You get drafted. Who are you making your first phone call to?
Oh man, I get drafted. First phone call. I mean, everybody who's gonna be important to me is probably gonna be in the room the day that I possibly get drafted. So I guarantee my agent will be on the phone. My parents will probably be right next to me. You know what? The only person that wouldn't be in the room would probably be would be my uncle, but he'd probably be like, "Oh look, I saw you on TV." But it's definitely gonna be someone. It's definitely gonna be a relative. If they're not with me in that moment.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Speaking of which, we were checking you out and everything. We were going through your Instagram, and we fell in love with your dad. Loving the beard.
Yeah, he's a special character. I love my dad to death. He's awesome. Me and him, we kind of dive into our old Scandinavian heritage, and he's Odin. He's Papa Odin. He looks like him. He acts like him. He's a great guy. Y'all would love him.
Love it.
Scarier to go when he's mad, or scarier to go against one of those big defensive linemen?
I mean, nowadays, I never want to make my dad mad. That's comforting. You never want to make your dad mad.
Yeah, for sure. So what have you been working on this offseason? What's something that you want to work on? Also, I know you have the NFL Players Association Bowl coming up. What are you working on, and what are you hoping to show off there?
So the NFLPA Bowl was actually turned into purely virtual. No show off there, sadly. But that was a good experience for myself to learn from a lot of these NFL players and get an insight to their lives. And for this offseason, I'm down in Florida currently. Training for the now canceled combine. So I guess I'm training.
Right.
I'm practicing for the pro day. That's the new combine. So I'm down here, and a lot of things just been working on, is my speed work and a lot of technique work as well. Is just getting ready for things such as the 40, and because that's a huge mark for a lot of people, is getting a good 40 time. So of course I want to work on that and be as well-rounded that as I possibly can. And I've got probably the best 40 coach in the nation here, Pete Bomarito. I'm pretty set. I feel really confident in everything that he's been teaching me. And technique wise, just, it's getting ready for this new change in speed of the game. Because if I thought high school to college was crazy, college to NFL is going to be a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So have you had any time to reflect on what your favorite college game was as a player?
A lot of time, actually. I mean, I get my free evenings. So I thought about I always think back to the Wisconsin game, just because that was one of the biggest stages. 3 years ago, that was the first year I was an absolute starter, and I was still kind of getting my feet wet. I was new, and I was still a green bean at all of it, and it was the biggest stage I'd played on at that point. And everything was against us. The odds were against us. We're playing a ranked Wisconsin team in their home. And, everybody was like, okay, BYU, it'll be another gimme game from Wisconsin. And we ended up going in and winning. And the atmosphere alone of just that, that nail biting game, just fighting to the complete end of that game was one of the most memorable experiences I ever had in college.
So Tristen, we play this game with all of our guests. We call it Steady Fire because you don't have to go super quick. It's just fun questions that you don't really have to think too much about. So I'll start. If you could pancake any defensive lineman, whether in college or the NFL, what defensive lineman would you want to pancake?
I think it'd be a big statement to do it to Aaron Donald.
Yep, that's an answer we get. Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah.
All right. Favorite home cooked meal?
Ooh, I can't go wrong with my mom's holiday cooking of a prime rib and baked potato.
Oh, that's a good one.
Can never go wrong.
No, you can't. Are we hitting any dessert?
Oh, of course. My dad's got a good recipe for a lemon cake that he got from his mom. That's kind of a little family recipe, and that always tops it off right.
Nice.
There you go. All right, I have a hypothetical for you, okay? It's a little thinker. you're in college, obviously. When you're in university, you get to play. You lose every game, but you play one team every year and you kill them. What team would you want that to be?
You know what? I'd have to say Utah just because it was our
It's
rival.
your rivals,
We
right?
hadn't beat them the entire time I was there, and this is the year that we would have been a great matchup.
It would have.
Didn't get it, so I'd have to say that.
Utah. Okay.
Do you have a favorite opposing stadium?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? I'd actually probably go with, as much as the fans were super rowdy and super annoying, was actually Coastal Carolina, just because there is an energy when you're getting booed when you're walking on the field. There's nothing that gets you more hyped than those boos. It gets you ready to play because you're in a hostile territory.
I'm sure it was also different too because a lot of the other places didn't quite have fans, right? So like
exactly.
So like that, you actually had fans to boo you.
Yeah, I forgot. I was like, man, I forgot what it was like to be booed. This is nice.
Yeah,
Definitely.
if you did not play offensive lineman, what position would you play?
Tight end, 100%.
Nah.
I thought about it. I make jokes about it all the time. I was like, man, if I lost like 50 pounds and had better hands, I would be a tight end 100%.
Would Zach have more touchdowns if you were the tight end?
Oh man, we'd have that. We have more blocking. I'd have more blocking touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'd be I'd be a bookend. I'd be going for it.
Love it.
So your college career has allowed you to go to a lot of places. Do you have a favorite city that you've been to?
Wow. I mean, usually when I've gone, I haven't been able to go, just kind of go crazy around the town. But I'd have to say the Hawaii Bowl 2 years ago, just because it was Hawaii. We got a whole week there. It was basically a nice little vacation inside of the bowl game. Can't complain about that.
And so you're a cold weather guy, so I'm sure that warm weather was definitely a little break from reality.
Oh yeah, in December too. Whew, that was way nice.
What is your favorite sport other than football? Either to watch or to play.
For me to play, I actually really like to play billiards. But every now and again, if it's the World Series, I like to watch baseball. But only during the World Series, just because that's when it gets really interesting.
Any team?
No specific team, just when it gets to the big dogs at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say Idaho doesn't have like a professional sports team, right? Yeah.
No, we got nada.
Nah, okay, gotcha.
You have an off-season hobby?
During the summer, I usually go. Me and my family go boating a lot. And do a little bit of wake surfing, just because back in Utah and Idaho, we had Bear Lake right on the border of both states, and spent a lot of time up there.
Gotcha. You got a dream vacation?
Oh yes, so many, but I have to narrow it down.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say Bora Bora, just because it's so far away.
Yeah.
But it's so tropical, and it just looks like a place to tan. Looks nice. Looks like good food. Looks like
those bungalows. Yeah, those bungalows are so nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Do you have a favorite childhood toy?
Oh man, did I? Yes, I had the one that I can always remember off the top of my head is I had a old Transformer, but like one of the 80s ones. His name was Ultra Magnus. I'm acting like I don't know his name. I knew his name. I'm a huge nerd. Ultra Magnus. He was one of the Generation 1 original Transformers, and I thought he was awesome because he was like the white Optimus Prime, and then you would put him in the suit and make him even bigger, make him the actual Ultra Magnus, and I thought it was cool.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite movie?
Oh yes, I definitely say Avengers, but Infinity War. I'm a huge Marvel DC fan. But Infinity War is definitely is probably my favorite movie of all time. I can watch it over and over again.
Gotcha.
So in an alternative universe, you're not a football player. What would be your occupation?
Probably an actor. I have to say. I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be in my future because that's what I want to do post football. So
awesome.
Maybe I started out there in a different universe. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, you bring up superheroes. If you were a superhero, which superhero would you be?
Man, I can't go wrong with Superman. He's got it all.
Yeah, he does.
He can fly. He's invulnerable. He basically lives forever. He's the top tier guy.
I thought you were gonna go with the Marvel guy.
Yeah, it's funny. I would, but my truck has a bunch of Superman logos on it.
Gotcha.
He's just the guy I've always dressed up as. You know, it was always easy. You know, big guy, easy to go Superman.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's roll with that. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Now this is the one I always thought about. It was actually Wolverine's healing.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, never. You get hurt, but you never stay hurt.
Right. That would have came in use this year.
That
would have been great.
They said you tested positive for the coronavirus. I'm like, no, I did not.
Just change it automatically. That would be great. Okay. Dream. If you were a tight end, who is your dream quarterback to throw you the ball? And you can't say Zach. That's a cop out. You can't say Zach.
You know what? I think it'd be I mean, why not Tom Brady? I mean, why not go with one of the best to ever live, best to ever play the game, and have him? I mean, that'd be an honor. Yes. You know, to have that ball come from his hand, that'd be pretty cool.
Awesome.
Did you have a favorite team growing up? Favorite football team?
I did. Yeah, the Steelers. Just because my uncle played for him, it's kind of a family thing. We always been a Steeler family. You know, even they liked them when they were kids too. So it's, you know, it's one of those family heirlooms is liking the Steelers.
It would be pretty funny if you end up with the Ravens, the Bengals, or the Browns. That would be
the exact opposite of the Steelers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would be priceless.
Wait, would your uncle be in an awkward spot? Do you think he'd vote? Do you think he'd root for you, or would it be, oh no, I got to root for the Steelers?
I mean, I hope that our familial relation will actually help him root for me. But I don't know, the teams that those ties, you know, the steel curtain goes deep.
So Isaiah Thomas, he was like from Chicago, the older Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
And when he would play in Chicago, his family he was like a Detroit Piston, biggest rivals of the Chicago Bulls at the time, and his family would still wear Chicago Bulls stuff. And like root for Chicago.
You're like, he's like, I'm your family. You still can't root for me. They're like, no.
I think you can tell by the hat that she's wearing and the shirt I'm wearing. I think you know where we want you to end up. We need some help on both of these.
Hey, I wouldn't mind living in New York. I've been there a few times, and I really love it there.
Good Italian food.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite TV show?
Oh man, I'd have to say Vikings. Because got a old Scandinavian heritage, and Vikings it's a quality show. You can watch it over and over.
Awesome.
Is that the one on History Channel?
Yeah, and then it's on like Amazon Prime and all that. It's awesome.
Yep. The first 2 seasons were incredible, and I just haven't picked up since.
It gets better. It's unreal.
Yeah. So through your college career, do you have a favorite jersey you've worn, like colorway or specific day that they just wore one type of jersey, anything like that?
The blacked out jerseys that were against San Diego State, because that was just like, we'd always say, oh, when are we going to wear those again? Those are the coolest ones. And everybody's like, never, because it's not black's not technically part of our color scheme.
Right.
And everybody's like, oh yeah, you'll never wear the black again. And then, you know, they said, well, okay, guys, they brought out the black jerseys right before SDSU. And we were like, okay, this is amazing. And that was definitely the coolest jersey we've worn.
I got another one with the jersey. If BYU had to switch jerseys with any team that you played, what jersey would you want it to be?
Ooh. So like if we had to change our color scheme?
Yeah, color scheme, but like it'll be the same jersey that they wore except with BYU on it now.
You know what? Notre Dame's got great colors.
They do.
They have great colors. The Golden Dome and the blue that's just a staple of college football. I think that would be awesome.
All right, so this question here could get you in a little bit of trouble here. So, your favorite teammate to travel with, but also who's the most annoying teammate to travel with where you're like, well, this guy just go to bed. I can't take it anymore.
It's funny is we actually had a lot of our guys were disciplined, luckily. And I've had we've had a lot of guys, we've had a lot of snorers. We have a lot of snorers. I'm one of them. I'm probably that teammate where everybody was like, if they're roomed with me, they're like, okay, I got to go to sleep first or this guy's going to keep me up all night. So I'm pretty sure I'm probably the snoring, annoying one on everyone's list. But the funnest one to travel with is actually my old line was always super fun. You know, no matter which one, we always had an Xbox 360, and we'd always be, you know, playing old Call of Duty Black Ops with each other. in one of our rooms, and it was always just, it was just a grand time because we were, it was a way to unwind before the game. We're just in the hotel hanging out and playing good old games until we had to go back into the fire.
Awesome. All right, one last question for you. I know you're busy, so let's get to the team that drafts you or signs you. What do they get out of you? What are they going to get?
They're going to get a consistent amount of work. That's one thing I've always wanted to do is work. And I never want to let anybody down. That's what I think that's one of my biggest motivators is never letting anybody down. So I'm going to work my tail off to make sure that I don't do that. And in doing that, I usually, I produce the results that that are desired. And so they're going to get a guy with a blue collar mentality that's going to come in and put his nose to the grindstone every single day.
Awesome.
Well, we hope to see you. Can't wait to see you in the NFL. Hope to see you wearing the big blue
or the green.
Not that terrible green. Best of luck to you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for letting us get to know you, and we can't wait to have you back on in the future.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks so much, man.
Take care, everyone.
Stay safe. Stay well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome guy. Great guy. Offensive linemen are always fun.
They are. They really are.
They're just. So I think it's because they don't get the credit.
Yeah.
You only know
they're the workers.
It's like you only know when something bad happens. With an offensive lineman, like when they let someone through. When they let someone through. But yeah.
Great guy.
Can't wait to see him in the green.
Big blue, baby. He's BYU. Hey, listen, BYU.
Blue, I was gonna say.
He's used to blue. Let's go.
Yeah. Yep. Great guy. Can't wait to have him back on the show. He more than likely will be drafted, and we can't wait to see it.
Yes, draft party.
Yeah, draft party. All right, guys, we will be back with more. We got 2 more interviews tonight. Can't wait.
Yes, ma'am. We will be back. Stay safe. Stay well. Stay hydrated.